With 3D printers being ever more connected to online services, like the cloud, otherwise known as somebody else's computer, privacy policies are becoming something that we should probably be reading a little bit more. And because of you guys, let's actually get into Bambu Lab's privacy policy. Dig into it a bit. Let's talk. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And yes, this video is inspired by Nathan Builds Robots, who did first cover the privacy policy for Bambu Lab. Enough of you asked in the comments for this video, so hey, why not? And in fact, we were going to be talking about Crealities and Prussia's as well, but the raw recording of that video was over an hour and a half, so we're probably going to split those up. But you let me know if that is something that you guys want to see, and if there are any other privacy policies or terms of use that you would like us to take a look at. Remember, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. This is just my understanding and what it means from my perspective. And from my perspective, I'd like to tell you about today's sponsor, 3D Musketeers. If you do want to support us financially, you like the work that we do here, and you like some of the research that we put into making these videos, you can support us via Patreon, PayPal, or YouTube channel members. Links, of course, are in that description down below for as little as $1 a month. And at the $10 tier and higher, you get to come hang out in our private Discord server where you can be involved in the actual content calendar for the channel, see some upcoming printers that haven't even been talked about publicly yet, as well as, well, come hang out with an awesome group of people. But hey, we understand money's a little tight these days. Like and subscribe and a share goes a long way to helping this channel grow. But without further ado, let's dig into a bit of the Bambu Lab privacy policy, something that has actually been updated a little bit since I last looked at it, and some's good, some of it's bad. And I have some questions. Let's get into it. And again, for those that are going to sit there and say, you don't know what you're talking about, I might not. I'm not an attorney. I've read enough privacy policies in my days, but I am not an attorney. And if you think I got something wrong, let me know in those comments below, because like most everybody, I am human, and that means I do get things wrong from time to time. But I think I got a pretty good read on most of these. The first thing to really look at with Bambu Lab is, if you don't want to read the whole privacy policy, they've got a short version. That short version is, yeah, it's short, but I don't like it because you can often hide a lot of legalese in a short version that is designed for the average person to look at. So we're going to go ahead and straight up ignore it. A lot of you know that I've got issues with Bambu Lab and their data collection, for the single purpose of we don't know what it's collecting. And a company that came from a company that is now banned from doing business with the US government, that is just telling me to trust them, has never been one that feels all that good and warms my cold heart. I did read through this actually on an unboxing video of our first Bambu Lab X1 Carbon, which I will card to so you guys can take a look at it. However, things might have changed. I think it's good for us to go through and review it. We can see it is very specific, and we're going to see this with pretty much every one of these privacy policies. If you do not agree to the entire privacy as a whole, you must not use products and services from that company. And this is what Bambu says. Now, you don't really have a choice, right? You either agree to the privacy policy or you don't use their products. Or option 3, you find a way to do what you want and how you want. We can see some information regarding what they collect. We have account information, which is fine. Contact information, which, again, is fine. These are all necessary for when you create an account, make a purchase, same thing with payment information. All of this is important. Most companies, and I would assume Bambu included, are not going to take your credit card information. They don't care. They're going to have a third-party payment processor handle it, because that third-party payment processor also has the insurance, so if there is a data breach, the payment processor deals with the BS, not Bambu. So you'll see that while they will need to collect some level of payment information, it is likely going to go through a third party. Of course, transactional information, which gives them that data, including details of your purchase history, be it of machines, parts, build plates, filament, whatever it might be. All pretty standard stuff. Fraud and abuse prevention information. Personal data that we need to collect for verification purposes to prevent fraud and abuse, including data of device trust and appeal records. So we can look here and understand more of what these appeal records are. It is copyright appeal information, including the identity information of the appealer, the reason and description of the appeal, and evidence of copyright ownership, date of the model appealed, and information of the outcome of the appeal. This all really has to do with you utilizing Bambu's name or Bambu's IP without their relative knowledge. They collect your device information. When you use their products or services, they collect a device ID from which the device can be identified. They also collect other information about the device, such as the operating system, hardware version, device model, device serial number, and network connection. A lot of you guys know that we are pretty set on trying to understand what is inside of those Bambu log files. In fact, we have an open bounty that is a personal bounty, not associated with 3D Musketeers, of course, for trying to crack the Bambu Lab encryption. It is AES encrypted. We know that for sure because we've identified the MCU. We are fairly certain that the device serial number is part of the key to decrypt it. So Bambu is likely able to collect your device information, including that serial number, and then utilize it to decrypt your log file. That's as far as we've really gotten so far because, well, I don't really want to brick a motherboard because I'm fairly certain they're not just going to send me a new one because they know what we're up to. We're going to see what we can do. But if any of you have spare Bambu motherboards, I might know someone who's interested in buying them. But this is important for them because they want to know where their machines go. Now, it's not a very common practice to see this in consumer grade 3D printing, right? While machines have serial numbers, it's not common for manufacturers to care about that because a lot of times manufacturers don't generally care if you are the first user of it because there's really no easy way to track it. You can make a new account that isn't associated, but at a certain point, your warranty will run out. So they put some sort of identifier on it. Bambu collects that so they know for sure when that machine was manufactured, as well as who have owned that machine, whether it is you, somebody else, or whomever. And of course, the network connection, which is part and parcel of the issue that I have. What level of the network connection are they pulling? Is that going to include my SSID and my password? Because if so, that would give Bambu Lab direct and immediate access to any network that they have a printer connected to. And you might say, Grant, I don't care if they see what benchies that I'm printing. You might not, but if that machine can become a opening to a network for someone who is not acting in good faith, you might be a little bit upset if you found your computers being used on a botnet. If you don't know what a botnet is, don't worry. TLDR, you don't want it. I worry about some of this information because while they do need it to connect the printer to the internet, they don't need to store it. The machine needs to store it personally so it can connect, but the company itself does not need to collect that. I believe that is an overreach in my personal opinion. And of course, the printer camera information. Now, this is a big one. For X1 Carbon owners, it's not that big of a deal. If Bambu really wanted to use the camera information to violate non-disclosures, honestly, if they're going to go through that kind of work, I say let them have it because it is very difficult to do that kind of thing. It is those of you that have the P1P or an open printer. Maybe you've removed the panels from your P1S or whatever new printer Bambu has by the time you're watching this video. That camera can see a lot more than just the internals of the printer, which is a massive security concern. And while you might not care if Bambu sees you walking around the house without pants on, people that live there did not explicitly agree to that level of spying, which is really the nicest way that I can put it. Be careful about those cameras. And while, yes, you can put a shutter on the camera to close it when it's not being used, heck, you can run your printers in LAN-only mode or do what we do. Don't connect it to the internet at all. And all you really have to do is just, well, if you talk about it on the internet, deal with people yelling at you for not updating your printer, thinking that they know and understand how ITAR works, and I'm not going to get into that right now. But then you also have Bambu saying you need to update your firmware, but don't put it online, can't update firmware. It's the current issue that we have with these machines. And we see that they only collect it when you voluntarily provide it to them. However, we don't know how and when that occurs. Now, if you send video files to Bambu during a support ticket, that's fine. But that machine has a direct connection to the outside world. And because everything is encrypted that comes out of that machine, you don't know for sure what is being sent and what isn't. And because Bambu has outright refused to prove it, I don't know if I trust it. that's going to be up to you guys. You might say, well, I don't care if Bambu sees me walking around without pants on. And while, yes, there are other devices in your house that are likely listening to you too, it does not immediately say, well, because everything else does it, it's fine if this one does too. Think about what level of security that you're looking for here. 3D model data. That one is a big one if you are a business. If they're collecting your 3D model data, they are violating non-disclosures for you. And of course, that is only when you use the cloud. Again, though, we don't know what is being sent in those log files. Don't know what is being sent in packets that go up from the printer to servers. We can't see it. The 3D model data is part of what bothers me. And while it says under any circumstances without your permission, Bambu Lab will not read, analyze, or process your 3D model files, and we will not grant any third-party access to your 3D model files. Again, how do you grant it? And then how do you revoke it being granted? So when you send Bambu log files or when you send them video files, can you revoke that access? Or as soon as you send it, you are providing an irrevocable license for them to utilize it for whatever their purposes are. It's not really explained here. Even if we look further into printing data, cookie policy, and network activity data, this takes us to key terms where we can scroll down and look for the certain things that we're looking for. And then it takes us to the cookie policy, which every company collects cookies. There's no way around it. It is what it is. Cookies are a part of the deal. But Bambu, like Creality, have different stories for where you are based in the world. I'm reading the one based in the United States, but if you're based in the EU, because of GDPR, you have a completely different set of rules that the rest of the world doesn't have to follow because your laws are specific. It's dumb, I don't like it, and it's a pain in the butt, but if you do want me to go through the one for the EU, let me know, and I'll do what I can. We can also see that they collect usage data, such as network activity data, which, let's look at that one in the key terms. That includes interactions, including between users, Bambu Lab websites, and other websites operated by a third-party company on their behalf, referred collectively to as reacted web pages. That is effectively when you go to somebody else's website, when you bounce away from Bambu, they can see where you're going. Again, that is a cookie thing, but if they're going to be selling that data, we have a problem. These interaction records may include topics, replies, comments, reads, ratings, likes, and collects, as well as interactions such as uploading, downloading, deleting, and printing. They collect your IP address, which if they're going to utilize the thing for the servers in the cloud, they need the IP address, right? Statistics regarding how related pages are looked at and viewed. That's the bounced stuff. The related pages you visited before coming to the reacted web pages. So where you came from and where you're going. They're basically playing Cotton Eye Joe here. And browsing information collected through cookies. Again, kind of a common thing. So we can see how they use that personal data. And the use of said personal data, to me, is often more important than the collecting of said personal data. Now remember, companies, any of them, can update their privacy policy at any time. And if you stop agreeing with it for some reason, according to the topic, you must cease to use their products immediately. But they don't currently give you a way to validate that your information is not going to be used against your will, because you have provided it to them and it effectively gets grandfathered into the new policy, whether you like it or not. All you can do is choose to not provide further information, not delete the information that is already there. And we can see that they collect information on a legal basis, which we'll get into, under data protection law for each purpose. Categories of personal data, which we process for each purpose, each called a categories. So let's look at this legal basis. Again, I like this that it's got, links to key terms. Very nice. Helpful. We can see they have a legal justification called legal basis, under which data protection law for each purpose, it will include performance of a contract, whether it's necessary for Bambu Lab or a third party to process your personal data to comply with obligations under a contract with you. This includes Bambu Lab's obligation under the terms of use to provide Bambu Lab services to you or to verify information before a new contract with you begins. So this is them just making sure the information that you are providing, that they are giving pricing you that you have agreed to matches where it needs to. This is pretty much above board so far. Legitimate interest. When Bambu Lab or a third party has an interest in using your personal data in a certain way, which is necessary and justified considering any possible risk to you and Bambu Lab users. For example, using your usage data to improve Bambu Lab services for all users. Contact us if you want to understand a specific justification. Well, if we don't exactly know what the legitimate interest is, we can't understand the specific justifications that Bambu Lab uses. Now, the issue that I have is that third party. For those that don't know, Bambu Lab is based in China. And for those that don't know, China has a thing about collecting data. If you don't know, just look up all the stuff going on with TikTok and its data collection. It's effectively an app that is being used to monitor people. Look it up. Promise, I'm not going to break out the tinfoil hat for this one. But this one is concerning to me because the third party is the problem. If Bambu Lab wants to use my information to improve Bambu Lab products, I don't really necessarily have an issue with that as long as I know what that information is and what it's being used for. If I don't know any of those things, I feel a little bit apprehensive here because I don't know what it's being used for and I don't know why. And I kind of want to know those things. Don't you? Let me know what you guys think in those comments because I don't know. I feel like a lot of users are going to say, well, I don't care as long as the printer works. I feel like people need to care a lot more about data security, and I hate it because the more arguing I have to do, the less of a soapbox I want to stand, because it just feels like people are going to hate me over it, and I don't want to be hated over something that is a big deal and for some reason isn't a big deal to a lot of people. But it is that third party. When we know that products from the previous company that Bambu Lab employees and investors came from, DJI, has been utilized in espionage and spying and giving information to enemies against the United States. It makes you wonder ever so slightly what those third parties might be. And again, this is speculation, but third party is a very vague thing. Could I pay Bambu Lab to become a third party to get all the information from Bambu Lab users? I don't know. I will contact Bambu to see about specific justifications because I'm not seeing any justifications, but I'd like to know what they are and why. Consent. Hey, this is good. We always like consent. When Bambu Lab asks you to actively indicate your agreement to Bambu Lab's use of your personal data for certain purposes and compliance with legal obligations when Bambu must process your personal data to comply with a law. Except they operate under the laws of the PRC, People's Republic of China, not the United States. So it's a very different world when you look at requiring and compliance with legal obligations. There is no Fourth Amendment, nor is there for the rest of the world, but there is no terms that set out unlawful searches and seizures, and that can and might include your data. A lot of this goes into more of the GDPR stuff, but it's not heavily explained. They really move into saying it's Article 6, Chapter 1 of GDPR, which I can get into if you guys want to. Just let me know in the comments. Maybe we'll do a podcast about it or something. We bring on an attorney to talk about this. If there is an attorney you guys would like to see brought on to talk about this privacy policy stuff, I'd love to know. We've previously talked to really awesome attorneys, one of which being Seth Polanski. We'll card to his episode where we talked all about intellectual property. But Seth is not a contract lawyer. He is a intellectual property lawyer. So if there is a contract lawyer that you'd like us to talk to, let me know. Because this could be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a really great podcast. Let me know what you guys think. So we then move into marketing and advertising because providing personalized services, there's not a whole lot of information there. But we can see with marketing and advertising, we've got a category section. These are things that Bambu Lab can collect to conduct marketing or advertising to you after obtaining your consent. Again, your consent is likely provided inside of this privacy policy and user terms of service and terms of use. So yeah, you're providing consent to this. We can see that that information is account information, contact information, transactional information, device information, printer, camera information, 3D model data, and usage data. Again, most of that I don't care too much about. Account information, contact information, transactional information, even device information. Those are all things that Bambu and any company is going to have immediate access to, period. But I don't want them selling that information to a third-party advertiser. Printer camera information, 3D model data, and usage data. Again, Again, we don't know exactly where you agree to this. I'm assuming it occurs somewhere in the terms of use itself, but I'm not sure. Further down into privacy rights, we get into a lot of GDPR, which is great. I'm glad that we're looking into this. Unfortunately, I'm nowhere near GDPR expert, especially because it doesn't apply in my country, but it is still something that I like. The thing is, if you're not in a country where GDPR exists, most of this actually doesn't really apply to you. We can see that Bambu Lab also has a data retention policy, and they say that they keep it only for the period necessary to provide you with Bambu Lab products and services and for achieving Bambu Lab's legitimate and essential business purposes, such as making data-driven business decisions about new features and offerings, complying with our legal obligations, or resolving disputes. Below we provide details on the storage periods of your personal data. Data retained until you remove it, so that is indefinite. It is your right to request that we delete certain of your personal data. I'm assuming that that's certain amounts of personal data. Data expires over a specific period of time. They have a set fixed retention periods so that some data expires or will be deleted after a specific period of time. This is normal. This is fine. Data retained until your Bambu Lab account is deleted. This is good. When you delete your account, that data can go with it. I'm assuming that involves your purchase history and that kind of thing. And data retained for extended periods of time for limited purposes. After your account is deleted, we may keep some data for a longer period of time, but for very limited purposes. What those are? To be determined. Data security, something that is a big deal to me. We use certain physical, organizational, and technical security measures that are designed to improve the integrity and security of personal data we collect and maintain. Please be aware that no security measures are perfect. I am aware of that. And impenetrable. I am also aware of that. And thus we cannot and do not guarantee that your personal data will not be accessed, viewed, disclosed, altered, or destroyed by any breach of any of our physical, technical, organizational security measures. That is the, hey, we told you if we leaked your crap that, you know, it might happen, so you can't sue us because you agreed to this policy. Yeah. Every company has this. Of course, not intended for children. We already knew that. That's a big thing. Children operating 3D printers, not a good move. And we can see that this is as of May 16th, 2023. So if you go to Bambu Lab and look at the privacy policy, of course, we will link to it in that description down below. If it is updated anytime after May 16th of 2023, it is new, and we have not done a video on it. And if we have, we'll link to it in the description as well. Moving on to the Bambu Lab terms of use, something that should help clarify a lot of these issues. Let's start with the top one. Important. These terms of use, here and after referred to as these terms, are the terms between you, individual, company, or any other entity, and Bambu Lab. We've got different designations for Bambu Lab. Bambu Lab has quite a few companies, I guess, they go by. These are them. Okay, this is what they go by in Asia, here's in the United States, and Europe. The general terms are exactly what you would expect. Nothing there is a big deal. Heck, even the end user software license, not that big of a deal. But we can look at our obligations. We may not use Bambu Lab technology or Bambu Lab intellectual property to develop software or design, develop, manufacture, sell, or license third-party devices, accessories associated with Bambu Lab products without Bambu Lab's prior consent. I don't know what Bambu Lab considers their property and intellectual technology and intellectual property, because there are a lot of people that do this from my non-legal perspective. So an interesting one that I think has carried over before Bambu Lab realized they had to play by the open source game is 3.5. You agree to not use the product and related update content to engage in the following activities. Copy or use any part of the software beyond the scope of these terms. Provide to third parties or allow third parties to use the whole or part of the software without obtaining Bambu Lab's written consent, including but not limited to app, service, code, and source code. Use the product in a deceptive way for deceptive purposes. Remove any copyright declarations or prompts contained in the product, attempt to destroy, bypass, change, invalidate, or escape from product and or digital rights management system, that's DRM, that is part of the organic composition of the product, or perform any other improper or illegal acts. So what they're saying is you can't do anything with the software, and they don't want you removing any of the copyright or the history of the software, which is what they did when they took it from Prussia Slice. They removed all the old commits from Prusa Slicer, and then of course in order Schlick 3R. So they're telling you not to do the things that they did. It's very much pot calling the kettle black here. I recognize that Bambu Lab wants users to not act poorly, but then you kind of have to set a good example to do it right yourself first, because if you don't do that, how do you expect your users to do it? So we look at the consent of use of data, and there are a couple of lines in here that I actually like, but I can't confirm whether any of this is true. We can see in 6.1 where you choose to help Bambu Lab improve its products and services. Bambu Lab and its affiliates, licensors may collect data from your device for analysis. Collected data includes your device configuration data, app statistical data, and error log data. All data is anonymized before being collected and processed. But to our best guess, it is part of your serial number that can decode the encrypted log file, because it's a hardware key. It is a hardware key of some sort to decrypt that log file. So no, it's not anonymized because it is connected directly to a hardware key of some sort. So I think Bambu Lab might actually be already violating their own terms of use. Now, I'm not an attorney, and I'm also not a cybersecurity expert. Maybe we can find a cybersecurity expert that is an attorney. I know DEF CON is coming up. Maybe people at DEF CON would like this kind of thing. If you know anyone that's going to DEF CON and would like to talk to me about this, let me know. I'd love to talk with them. But I think this is where my level of understanding of legalese tends to fall off. It's anonymized, or so they say, but there's no way for me to prove it. And this level of trust me, bro, doesn't work for me. This is something that, as someone that does need to run their machine offline for the time being, it makes me a little unsettled. This last line in 7.3. Due to the importance of these updates, talking about updating of the software, your product may block new print job before the updates is installed and will immediately provide update notifications to help you understand the related information. Does that mean that if I choose not to update my machines, they will actively block me? I want to believe this is more talking about if you tell your machine to update, it is going to not run the print job before it updates. It'll just update, then go ahead and run the print job. Maybe that's it. I'm honestly not certain, but again, my legal definitions are kind of weak. What do you guys think? So yeah, that's the basis from my perspective. I'd love to know your opinion on these privacy policies. I know that I might be reading into things a little bit more than I should, and maybe I missed over some things as well. Obviously, my use case is going to be different than yours as a business that deals with non-disclosures and, you know, export control stuff. But I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments down below. And of course, let us know as well if you want us to take a look at Creality and Prusa to learn more about how they collect and utilize your data. If you guys want to see it, I'd love to make those videos for you. And don't forget, if there is a legal professional that you would like us to talk to live on a podcast, I would love to do that. So send us your favorite, I don't know, lawyer content creators that would be open to this kind of thing. I'm down if they're down. Anyways, guys, stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, leave a like and keep making awesome. Have a good one. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our channel supporters whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Remember, if you want to support the efforts that we do here, you can join via those links in that description down below, with the $10 tier and higher getting you access to our Patreon Discord server. Right below me will be my first look at Prusa Slicer 2.6, and next to that will be my look at Orca Slicer. Very similar to Bambu Studio, just, you know, with more access for other printers. I'll see you guys down in those comments and in the next one. Take care.